You hurt a Gemini. You said you're sorry. And they looked at you like you said nothing at all. Not because they're cold. Not because they can't forgive. But because the apology you gave them wasn't the apology they needed to hear. Geminis don't reject apologies because they want to punish you. They reject them because most people apologize to their feelings when what they actually hurt was their mind. In the next 7 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to apologize to a Gemini in a way that actually reaches them. Because if you do this wrong, you'll lose them. And if you do this right, you'll earn something most people never get from a Gemini: a second chance. Let me explain why the apology you're planning to give will fail. Most people apologize like this: I'm sorry I hurt you. I didn't mean it. I feel terrible about what happened. These are emotional apologies. They speak to feelings. And for most people, that works. But Gemini isn't most people. Here's what they hear when you say these things. I'm sorry I hurt you. Translation: you're focused on the outcome, not the action. I didn't mean it. Translation: you're making an excuse, not taking responsibility. I feel terrible. Translation: you're centering your feelings, not understanding theirs. Gemini doesn't need you to feel sorry. They need you to understand what you did and why it was wrong. Because Gemini processes everything through their mind first. Their emotions follow their logic. Their forgiveness follows their understanding. So if your apology doesn't make intellectual sense to them, their heart won't accept it, no matter how sincere you sound. So what does a Gemini need to hear? 3 things. In this order. 1. Acknowledgement of the specific behavior. Don't say, I'm sorry for what I did. Say, I dismissed your point in front of everyone yesterday. I interrupted you when you were explaining something important. I made you feel stupid. Why this works? Gemini needs to know you see what you did. Vague apologies feel like you're apologizing to make yourself feel better, not because you actually understand the damage. TWO. Explanation of your thought process without excuses. Don't say, I was just stressed. Say, I was defensive because what you said challenged something I wasn't ready to examine. Instead of listening, I shut you down. That wasn't about you. That was about me protecting my ego. Why this works? Gemini needs to understand the why behind your behavior. Not to excuse it, but to make sense of it. Their brain can't process forgiveness until they understand the logic of what happened. 3. Recognition of the impact, not just on their feelings, but on their trust. Don't say, I know I hurt your feelings. Say, I know I made you question whether you can trust me with your thoughts. I know I made you feel like your intelligence doesn't matter to me. And I know that's not something I can just erase with words. Why this works? Gemini's deepest wound isn't emotional, it's intellectual. When you hurt a Gemini, you don't just hurt their heart. You hurt their sense of being seen and respected for how they think. If you acknowledge that, you're speaking their language. Here's the exact structure. Follow this, and you give yourself the best chance of being heard. Step 1. State what you did with precision. Yesterday, when you were explaining your perspective on specific thing, I cut you off mid-sentence and dismissed your point as overthinking. Why precision matters. Generic apologies feel lazy to Gemini. They need to know you were paying attention, not just trying to end the conflict. Step 2. Explain your reasoning honestly. I did that because I felt threatened by how clearly you saw through something I was avoiding. Instead of admitting that, I tried to make you seem like the problem. Why honesty matters. Gemini can detect dishonesty instantly. If you're protecting yourself while apologizing, they'll feel it, and they'll shut down. Step 3. Name the impact on their mind, not just their feelings. I know that made you feel dismissed intellectually. I know it made you question whether I actually value your insight. And I know that's one of the worst things I could make you feel. Why naming the intellectual wound matters. Most people focus on emotional damage. Gemini's real pain is intellectual invalidation. If you miss that, you miss them entirely. Step 4. Don't ask for immediate forgiveness. Don't say, "Do you forgive me?" Say, "I'm not asking you to forgive me right now. I know you need time to process this. I just need you to know that I see what I did, and I understand why it hurt." Why this works. Gemini needs space to think. Demanding forgiveness immediately makes them feel pressured, which makes them pull away. Give them room. They'll come back when they're ready. Step 5. Demonstrate change through action, not just promises. Don't say, "I promise I'll never do it again." Say, "Next time you're explaining something and I feel defensive, I'm going to pause and tell you I need a minute instead of dismissing you. I'm going to work on that." Why action matters more than promises. Gemini doesn't trust words. They trust patterns. Show them you understand how to change, and they'll believe you might actually do it. Follow these 5 steps, and you've given a Gemini apology that actually works. Now let's talk about what will destroy your apology, even if everything else is right. Phrase 1. You're too sensitive. What you mean? I didn't think it was that big of a deal. What they hear? Your reaction is irrational, and I refuse to take responsibility. Why it destroys everything. You just told Gemini their mind is the problem. You invalidated their logic. That's unforgivable. Phrase 2. I already said I'm sorry. What more do you want? What you mean? I'm frustrated you haven't forgiven me yet. What they hear? You're being unreasonable for needing time to process. Why it destroys everything. You just made your apology conditional. Gemini will never forgive under pressure. Phrase 3. You do the same thing to me. What you mean? This isn't one-sided. What they hear? I'm deflecting blame instead of taking accountability. Why it destroys everything. Even if it's true, this isn't the moment. Gemini will see this as manipulation, and once they see you as manipulative, you're done. Phrase 4. I didn't mean it that way. What you mean? My intention wasn't to hurt you. What they hear? Your interpretation of my actions is wrong. Why it destroys everything. You're telling Gemini their perception is incorrect. That's the fastest way to lose them forever. Phrase 5. Can we just move on? What you mean? I want this conflict to be over. What they hear? Here's what you need to understand about Gemini forgiveness. It doesn't happen on your timeline. It happens on theirs. Phase 1. The silence. Hours to days. After you apologize, Gemini will go quiet. Not because they're punishing you, because they're processing. They're replaying the situation, analyzing your apology, checking it for inconsistencies, deciding whether your words match your understanding. Don't chase them during this phase. Don't send follow-up texts. Don't demand a response. Silence is them thinking, not rejecting. Phase 2. The test. Days to weeks. If they come back, they'll watch your behavior. They're not testing to punish you. They're testing to see if you meant what you said. Do your actions match your apology? Or were your words just conflict management? This is where most people fail. They apologize perfectly, then go right back to the behavior that caused the problem. Gemini notices. And when they do, you don't get another chance. Phase 3. The decision. Weeks to months. Eventually, Gemini will decide. Either you've proven your apology was real and they'll let you back in, or you've proven it wasn't and they'll close the door permanently. There's no middle ground with Gemini forgiveness. It's all or nothing. And once they've decided, that decision is final. So be patient. Prove your apology through consistency. And understand that Gemini's forgiveness is earned, not given. Sometimes you've crossed a line you can't uncross. Here is how you know it, as too late. Sign 1. They re not angry, they re indifferent. Anger means they still care. Indifference means they've emotionally detached. When Gemini stops feeling anything about you, it's over. Sign 2. They respond, but with zero depth. Short answers. No curiosity, no engagement. They're being polite, but they're gone. Sign 3. They've told you directly. If Gemini says, I can't do this anymore, or I do and trust you, believe them. They don't say things like that lightly. Sign 4. They've removed you from their mental world. They don't ask about your life. They don't share theirs. You're no longer someone they think about. If you see these signs, your apology won't change anything. Not because it wasn't good enough, but because the damage went too deep. And in that case, the most respectful thing you can do is accept it. Let them go and learn from what happened so you don't repeat it with someone else. Here's the final truth about apologizing to a Gemini. They don't need you to grovel. They don't need you to beg. They don't even need you to feel terrible about what you did. What they need is proof that you understand. Because to a Gemini, an apology without understanding is just noise. They need to know that you see them, that you respect how their mind works, that you value their intelligence enough to actually think about what you did wrong. If you can show them that, you have a chance. If you can't, you don't. So before you apologize to a Gemini, ask yourself, do I actually understand what I did? Or am I just trying to end the conflict? Because Gemini will know the difference. They always do. And your apology will only work if the answer is real. If you're about to apologize to a Gemini, comment, I understand now. If you're a Gemini and someone finally apologized the right way, comment, they got it right. Let's build a space where people learn how to actually reach each other. Hit subscribe if you want more psychology that actually works. And remember, Gemini doesn't need perfect. They just need real.